I recently lived in Kyoto, Japan for 1 month, and in this video I'm gonna rate the city based on several criteria to see whether it's worthwhile visiting as a digital nomad. First up is accommodation. Finding accommodation in Kyoto is not very difficult, but it's also not super easy. I looked at different options like co-living and co-working spaces. I eventually ended up paying 600 euros for a room in a B&B, but I also looked at several other options, and I would say a monthly rent for a room would be around 500 to 700 euros. If you look for something on Airbnb, it can be a bit more expensive. However, I also found it somewhat difficult to communicate with the agencies. For example, I found an agency that provided rooms online, but when I actually wrote them, they said everything I saw online was not available anymore, and they offered me some other rooms in locations that I didn't really like, or rooms which weren't as nice as the one that I saw online. Overall, I would rate accommodation a 7 out of 10. It is possible to get a decent accommodation for a reasonable price. However, it's not as simple as it is in some other places I've visited. Next up is lifestyle, and that is one of my favorite categories, especially in Kyoto, Japan. As always, I have split this category into activities and food, and activities is a solid 10 out of 10 in Kyoto. The city is known for its historic background. It's more than 2,000 temples and shrines, and basically every 500 meters you will pass a UNESCO World Heritage Site because it's just so beautiful and well preserved. However, they're not only temples. The location of Kyoto in itself is also very strategic, as it's very close to Osaka, Kobe and Nara, and all of these cities you can reach within 1 hour by public transportation. Next up is food, and Japan also is a 10 out of 10 for food. You got ramen, you got sushi, you got the most amazing food for a relatively reasonable price. For example, a bowl of ramen would usually cost around 700 to 1000 yen, which is about 5 to 7 euros. Next up is costs, and I already made a cost of living video of my stay in Kyoto, which I will link in the description. And in my month there, I spent a total of 1070 euros. Overall, I would rate Japan a 7 out of 10. In Japan, I also did cook myself, used public transportation or a bicycle more often than in other countries, so it is still more expensive than some other Asian countries, so overall a 7 out of 10. The next category is community, and I gave that a 8 out of 10. I found it okay to meet friends because in my accommodation it was actually a co-living space, but also a hostel, so I was lucky that I met a lot of people just at the place where I lived. So for me, luckily, that was not a big problem. But I do think it very much depends on your accommodation, because Japanese people are very friendly, very polite, but a bit more reserved than people from other countries. So I did find it a bit more difficult to get in touch with some of the locals. The final category is visa, and I gave that a 8 out of 10. It is quite straightforward in my case. I got a 90-day visa on arrival. So as a German, staying there for up to 3 months was very simple. If you want to stay in Japan for a longer period of time, I guess it would be more difficult. I'm not aware that they currently have a digital nomad visa. Therefore, I gave it a 8 out of 10. Last but not least, the final question. Will I be back? And I will absolutely be back. It was actually the second time for me in Kyoto, because the first time I just loved the city so much that I really, really wanted to come back. And even though I've now stayed there for a whole month, I still feel there's so much more to see and explore, and it's just such a beautiful environment that I really would love to come back to Kyoto. Overall, Japan is probably not the most famous destination for digital nomads, but it is kind of up and coming, and as more and more people realize how beautiful the country is, how affordable it can be, and you get more and more co-living and co-working spaces popping up, I do believe you will see more digital nomads coming to Japan, and I can totally recommend staying there for a while and exploring this beautiful country. Let me know if you would come to Kyoto as a digital nomad, or if you would prefer another city. Personally, Fukuoka is kind of high on my to-visit list, so yeah, let me know what you think. I hope you did enjoy this video. If yes, please leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!